Hey everybody, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back with another video, and boy, 2020, what can I say about 2020? It was, I wouldn't say dumpster fire because no, dumpster fire would be too kind to describe that year. I would say a landfill fire. Basically, an entire landfill going up in flames. Yeah, that's how bad 2020 was. But let alone and behold, at least we still had pro wrestling and a few other things. But mainly with pro wrestling, though, there were a lot of great matches from last year. But these were the five, in my opinion, that actually were the ones that I liked the most. That stood out to me personally. So with that in mind, I'm your Digital Super Saiyan 3, and this is my top 5 wrestling matches of 2020 countdown. Number 5, Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston, Full Gear, AEW Full Gear for the AEW World Title. Man, Jon Moxley had a hell of a 2020 going up against your typical big men like a Brian Cage and Lance Archer to smaller guys like a Darby Allin. But my pick was his title defense against Eddie Kingston in an I Quit match at Full Gear. I gotta admit, they had some creative ways of using weapons. We saw thumbtacks, barbed wire bat, and even a strand of barbed wire being used. A steel chairs were brought into play, and even rubbing alcohol. Yeah, Kingston even uses rubbing alcohol on Moxley's thumbtack wounds to make it hurt even more. Anyway, by the end of it, Jon Moxley ended up retaining the AEW World title by choking out Eddie Kingston with the strand of barbed wire that Kingston had taken off the barbed wire bat. But anyway, it was a great match and definitely deserved the start of my list. Number 4, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, Clash of Champions for the WWE Championship. It was an ambulance match. Honestly, this ambulance match was something I really wanted to see, and it damn sure delivered between Orton and McIntyre. I mean, all the ways you see a lot of the people that Randy Orton had wronged and attacked during the summer get back at Randy Orton on this night. You see the Big Show run in, Christian ran in, Shawn Michaels, and even the Nature Boy Ric Flair drove the ambulance after McIntyre had put Orton inside and retained his WWE Championship. It was probably my favorite WWE Championship match with McIntyre's first WWE Championship run. And yes, McIntyre is right now, yet again, the WWE Champion after winning the title back from Randy Orton back in November in the build-up to Survivor Series. Anyway, Orton and McIntyre had a great match, and I could have also put Randy Orton versus Edge from WrestleMania Night 2 on the list. I liked that match, and I liked it more than their greatest wrestling match ever. Not to say that match was bad either, but McIntyre and Orton just sort of took it for me. Next up, yet again, another WWE match. This time, we go all the way to NXT UK on the October 29th episode for the NXT United Kingdom Championship as the champion Walter defended against Ilya Dragunov. And what a match it was. It was physical and it was brutal. It was the only match on my list that is not like a no disqualification match, but it didn't need to be no disqualification match for this match to be physical and brutal. Ilya Dragunov and Walter definitely put on a hell of a match. It was brutal from start to finish. It was awesome. Walter retained, and boy did he. And yes, Walter is still the United Kingdom champion. So it was a great match by both guys. So from 3 singles matches to 2 matches that are group matches. Now we are in the top 2, my friends. Number 2, the Inner Circle versus the Elite, AEW Double or Nothing. Honestly, I gotta say this was probably my favorite AEW match of the year. The Stadium Stampede was chaotic as the Inner Circle, led by Chris Jericho, taking on the Elite, led by the Young Bucks. It was chaotic and it was brutal, and I loved every minute of the Stadium Stampede. They had an entire football stadium to use as at their leisure. You see all 10 of these men beat the hell out of each other in all sorts of creative ways. And in the end, I'm glad Kenny Omega was the one who got the pinfall when he used the one-winged angel from the top of the crowd and onto this platform, hitting it on Sammy Guevara. I loved how Sammy Guevara got chased by the golf cart as Matt Hardy was yet again driving the golf cart to try to run down Sammy Guevara. I just love every minute of this match, and including all the football references, because of course they were on a football field, so what'd you expect? Anyway, yeah, this match from Double or Nothing was awesome. But it's not number 1. And my number 1 favorite wrestling match of 2020 is Team Shotzi versus Team Candice, NXT TakeOver War Games. Yeah, I know. I have 3 matches from WWE and 2 matches from AEW. But don't get me wrong, I liked a lot of other AEW matches this year from the past year, and they were great. But this was the match that kind of just stole it from me for NXT and WWE as a whole. You had, for Team Candice, you had Candice LeRae, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, and Toni Storm, taking on Team Shotzi, consisting of Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and the NXT Women's Champion herself, Io Shirai. And it was a hell of a match as all 8 of these women beat the hell out of each other. And the Cage of the War Games environment was awesome. This actually was better than the War Games match from last year's War Games with the women's division. I mean, and especially I also got to give it to Io Shirai with that trash can dive off the top of the cage. I love every minute of this match, and that's why it's number 1. So yeah, number 1 is Team Shotzi versus Team Candice. Anyway, let me know in the comments section below what your favorite wrestling match is. I'm your Digital Super Saiyan 3, and I'll see you guys next time.